SDA Sermons with Joel Yang presents Joel Yang from SDA Sermons with Joel Yang. Hey everybody, welcome to this YouTube channel. My name is Joel Yang, and I am the preacher at SDA Sermons with Preacher Joel Yang. So, what do we do here? We tell the whole wide word about Jesus Christ and His love, and because He is coming soon, and it says that the three angels' message must be spread through the world in order then He will come. So we want Him to be coming soon. That's why we are here, bringing to you SDA Sermons with Joel Yang, preaching every Friday night Vespers at 7 o'clock p.m. and every Saturday noon at 12 noon. So please join us at our YouTube channel. And we'll appreciate you if you subscribe and hit the bell icon. Thank you so much for supporting us, and we'll see you. SDA Sermons right now, speaking the parable of the squirrel. Okay, now. Okay, I'm going to take the Bible. Okay, now today's sermon will be directing us to the book of Exodus, chapter 20. Exodus 20, verse, verse 12. Exodus 20, verse 12. Today's topic, as you heard, will be called the parable of the squirrel. This won't be too long. Don't expect it to end at minute 5. Because I have to prepare for episode 86 of Live Vespers. So if I go on with this until 10:30 or 10:45, I'll have time to set up my other cameras. So I'll do like 10 to 20 minutes around that time. Maybe 15 or 10. Okay, because this story time is just for a little fun stuff. So, one time when I was really young, I was in my bedroom. Anybody knew what I was going to say next? My bedroom, that was like a long time ago in my old apartment. You remember the sermon you watched yesterday? Yeah, I showed you, and if you watch it carefully, in Google Maps, I showed you the place where I lived. Of course, I lived there. There are many apartments. Last time I lived on the second floor of the right side of the building. Then I moved to the fourth floor on the left side of the building later. I've always lived in that apartment all my life, except now. Most of my life was spent in that apartment. In my other apartment, where I lived the longest, I lived there like until 2017. Until 2017, then I moved. Now, when I was before 2017, when I was really young. I remember moving in 2017 July. Before 2017, when I was young, I'm not going to give you exact dates because I don't like people knowing my age, and they're going to make a big fuss out of my age. So, so just giving you before, just like a few years after I was born, like when I was like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, around that time. I think it was like 2 years old, 2.5. I don't remember how old exactly, but I looked out the window, in my bedroom window. I said, "Hey, squirrel, come here." What happened next? Anybody remembers? Anybody knows what I'm going to say next? What? Squirrel. And the squirrel came. And the window, I think it was closed. That was good. But we had a window net also, but squirrels can do anything. You see their sharp claws? if they can break nuts, they can break a window net, because a window net is very soft and a nut is so hard. And if they can break a nut, they can break a window net. And she was beating on the window to try to get the squirrel away. Now, if you wonder why I had to tell this story, today my mom reminded me of that story. That's how I got the idea. The parable of a squirrel is today's topic. Now, what does it have to relate to Exodus chapter 20, verse 12? Now, in Exodus 20, verse 12, it says, "Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God gives thee." Now, that squirrel was like an example of obedience, because when I called him, he came right away. I didn't have to call twice. I called once. Now, does this give a lesson to children and to parents? Does this? Yeah. So, if you have children, you should have, when you see something, the parable of a squirrel, and you look in the Bible for a parable of a squirrel, and you know that it's not in the Bible, you call your kids, because it could be something interesting, like today. Now, of course, when the live stream ends, you can always reverse back to the beginning. Anyways, let's talk about Exodus 20:12 and forget squirrels. Now, honor thy father and thy mother, that the days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God gives thee. Why does the Bible say that? If you know why would you honor your father and mother? You know the Waldensian children? That was like in the 14, 15, 1600s when Rome, they had a lot of wars in the European times. You know, the wars about the Bible. They had wars back then. Now, there were Waldensian children. When the parents said, shh, they shut up right away. They didn't say, "Why did you ask me to keep quiet?" It could have been a soldier walking by. They had to keep quiet. This is a lesson for children living at the end time. They have to listen to their parents also, because at the end time we're going to have wars, as the Bible says in Matthew chapter 24. Now, honoring your father and your mother also brings you good and happiness, because let's say if your father or mother, let's say one time, this is not a real story, but I'm sure it has happened many times before, but I'm just going to give names, okay? One time, John told his son James not to touch the stove. James wondered why he shouldn't touch the stove, because he was 3. He didn't know that the stove was hot. Father and John said, "Oh, I have to go to the bathroom for a second. Don't touch the stove. It's coming out." So John went to the bathroom, and James was like, "Man, why did Daddy say not to touch the stove? Maybe I could try it." And then the stove was real high. 3 years old like to climb. 2, 3 years old climb everywhere. He climbed up the cabinets, and he sat on the counter. I think I'm getting too imaginative. Now, kids touch the stove. I don't think they will do that, but who knows? It could have happened before. I never read too much news, so I don't know about too much about these things. So, and then he sat on the stove. You could guess what happened. His father was cooking something earlier, and he went to the bathroom. And that 3-year-old screamed. He jumped up. His head hit the roof. You know, not the roof that high, but you're top of the stove. He has a cooker hood. You know what the cooker hood? The place where the lights, and then you have the smoke sucking up that thing, the vent. Yeah, that thing there. He hit his head there, and he fell down to the ground. You think he had a good ending? No, he had to go to the hospital for weeks. And he had to get stitches on his head. So, see? But that's why the Bible says if you honor your parents. Now let's give it more real that has happened before, maybe. The father says, "Don't go to the kitchen." And the son said, "Why not go to the kitchen?" And the son runs to the kitchen. You know, the handles. When I was young, my father kept telling me about all these things. the handles, or the pot handles, you don't leave it out like that. You put it inside. Yeah. He told me that. Now I do cook, so now pots I don't have those things anymore. I use those big pots like the soup pot, that one. That the handles are 2 handles on the sides. Yeah, I use those pots now. So, and then the son runs to the kitchen and he knocks the pot of boiling water down. What happens to his legs? Last time my mom said, while I was in the Costco bathroom, she said that she saw a girl with scarred face. About 5 years old only. 5, 6 years old. And I also, things could have happened. The father said not to put your hand on the stove, and the son touched it and he burnt his hand. He won't have a good ending. He will always have a scar there. Because the Bible says, not the Bible is true, because the Bible says to honor your father and your mother, and then you will be happy. And you will live long. Let's say the father and the son, the son is going to school. The son grew big. He was going to kindergarten. The father said, we had just had Hurricane Ida. The father lived in Louisiana. If you heard, Louisiana had the worst hit of Hurricane Ida. And then the father said, okay, now kindergarten's open, son. Be very careful when you cross the streets. Don't touch those wires that are on the ground right now because of the hurricane. If you touch it, you could get electrocuted. The son was like, really? He doesn't even know what that means. But he said, why did father say not to touch it? That's what children always do. And he touched it and he got electrocuted. And you know what happened. Did he live long? No, he lived up to 5. That's it. That's why what the Bible says is true. Okay, guys, we're going to end right now. See you in 45 minutes at a real sermon. Talking about the wise and foolish. Sounds interesting?